The Terminator has spawned an entire entertainment franchise, one that includes films, TV series, and now defunct amusement park attractions. But as with any franchise out there, not all installments are created equal. Here's how the films and shows stack up from worst to best. The Terminator franchise had already put out 2 immensely successful releases by 2003 when Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines came out. It marked the first film without any involvement from series creator James Cameron. It shows. Rise of the Machines is all style and zero substance, one of those films that throws everything that worked from its predecessors at the wall and winds up making a giant mess with it. The chases are bigger, but definitely not better. Somehow, more explosions happen than in either previous movie, but they don't seem to be there for any reason other than someone decided it was a Terminator movie, and Terminator movies need explosions. Rise of the Machines is basically the same movie as Judgment Day, only with a female Terminator chasing after John Connor while Arnold Schwarzenegger's T-800 attempts to protect him. Just prior to the release of 2009's Terminator Salvation, Machinima released this tie-in web series. Terminator Salvation, the Machinima series takes place in 2016, 2 years prior to the events of Salvation the movie, and it centers on Blair Williams as she sets out on a mission to hunt down the Ghost, a hacker who's interfering with Resistance communications. If you can get past the mediocre effects, the Machinima series manages to be a pretty entertaining series. It doesn't add anything or take away from the franchise, the story doesn't affect the greater Skynet threat in the long run, but it gets points for creativity. And out of all the Terminator films, the fact that Salvation managed to be the one to get its own offshoot web series as a marketing ploy is pretty daring. Following up Rise of the Machines, Terminator Salvation tells the bleak post-Judgment Day story of the Resistance and its fighters. There were hopes the film would reinvigorate the franchise, and for a time, it seemed as though it would. Jonathan Nolan, the award-winning writer behind The Dark Knight, Interstellar, and HBO's Westworld, had started work on the script, but pulled out due to another commitment. Then there was a writer's strike. Salvation just couldn't seem to catch a break. In 2018, star Christian Bale appeared on MTV's Happy Sad Confused podcast and touched on his regrets. Bale said,
I said no 3 times, and it's a great thorn in my side because I wish we could have reinvigorated that. And unfortunately, during production, you could tell that wasn't happening. But it's a great shame.
At least Salvation isn't another retelling of the first 3 films. In this one, John Connor is a fully fledged Resistance leader, Kyle Reese is a young, pre-time traveling Sarah Connor romancer, and the main cyborg doesn't even know he's a machine.
Who built you? My name is Marcus Wright. You think you're human? I am human.
Terminator Genisys, the 2015 franchise reboot, was supposed to be the film that really would bring fans back to the fold. Even James Cameron told Yahoo Movies that he felt as though Genisys worked as the true 3rd installment in the Terminator franchise. With the story centered on fractured timelines and unexpected villains, Genisys really is the best film to come out since Terminator 2. But saying that it's better than the 2 films before it isn't really saying much at all. The most successful thing about Genisys is the way it treats its source material. Using a combination of fancy CGI work and reenactments with body doubles who look just enough like the '84 actors to get by, Genisys pays a great deal of fan service to those who loved the original. Where it fails is in trying to weave in new material. Nearly everything that takes place in the new 2017 timeline is confusing, but seeing a 1984 Sarah Connor kick ass kinda makes up for it. For 2 seasons, the Sarah Connor Chronicles gave fans hope that the franchise could, in fact, get back on track. Taking place after the events of Terminator 2, the series sees Sarah and a teenage John Connor running from yet another Terminator with the help of a cyborg named Cameron. Get it? Cameron? The Sarah Connor Chronicles jumps in time from 1997 to 2007, effectively erasing Rise of the Machines. Sarah and John are able to exist in a timeline more in line with Terminator 2. Sarah is still alive and a key figure in the Resistance. Star Lena Headey manages to pick up where Linda Hamilton left off in a way that feels more like an homage to the original character than someone trying to replace her. Just before the Terminator hit theaters in 1984, Orion Studio execs refused to screen it for critics, showing little confidence in it. The lack of love from the studio at the time stuck with Cameron for over 3 decades, but looking at the film now, it's impossible to imagine how anyone could consider it a failure. And thankfully, audiences at the time felt the same way. The Terminator launched Cameron's career as a director and Arnold Schwarzenegger's as an actor. It was like nothing that had ever happened in the movies, and it proved that audiences were willing to shell out their hard-earned money to watch a diner waitress and her time-traveling boyfriend get chased through the streets of Los Angeles by a cyborg in leather. Cameron told the audience at the 5th annual Hero Complex Film Festival that the fearlessness it took to make the Terminator came from his frustration in trying to break into the industry. He said, "I was the anonymous, kind of angry wannabe filmmaker. There's some courage that comes from that. You say whatever comes into your head. I was kind of like a free voice in the wilderness in that stage." Terminator 2 Judgment Day not only builds upon the world created by its predecessor, but it's also somehow better than the original movie. Over 10 years after the events of The Terminator, Sarah Connor has been institutionalized because of her belief in time-traveling killer robots. Her son, John, lives with foster parents. The original T-800 has been reprogrammed as a protector for John. And the new evil is the T-1000, an updated Terminator with the added feature of shape-shifting liquid metal. Judgment Day isn't just a continuation of the series, it's something totally new. Sarah is a fighting machine, a far cry from the scared waitress in The Terminator. The T-800 is no longer a threat, and this version of the character sets up a multi-movie arc for the original Big Bad, one that sees an aging actor continue to reprise the role, in spite of the fact that robots shouldn't age. Judgment Day's T-800 was just so likable, it didn't matter. Plus, it gave us some fantastic catchphrases.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite movies are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.